Alright, so tonight I want to talk about one of my favorite pedals of all time. I've had it on my board for quite some time now, and that is the TX Underfacer. So a few years ago, I was in this predicament, I guess, where I was moving from a mono to a stereo rig kind of frequently. And every time I did, I would have to rewire my board. And it was a really frustrating, tedious process because it was a lot of, moving these cables around, moving those pedals around. And even though that can be fun, it was a lot of time. And I started looking around for a solution to it, and I found that this company in Australia, in Sydney, makes this pedal, the Goodwood Audio Underfacer. Now, this was such a huge piece of gear for me because it eliminated a ton of problems that I was having and didn't even know that I was having, and that was huge for me. This little pedal gave me the ability to keep my board rigged in a stereo rig, keep all my cables there, and then flip one little switch right here on the bottom and move over to mono. Boom, move it back to stereo. It was amazing. I was so excited about this pedal. And this for me was a huge step up in my rig. I was recently able to switch over from this older model of the Underfacer to the new TX Underfacer, and I gotta tell you, it makes the job even easier because the idea with the Underfacer that makes it different from the Underfacer is that it actually goes underneath the board, giving you even more real estate, saving you space that the Underfacer didn't save. And that was so great for me. And I wanted to tell you about it because I've seen just huge benefits from it, and I think that there's a ton of guitarists out there who are looking for various ways to change up their rigs or easier ways to, make their rigs more flyable, more accessible, more editable, whatever the thing might be. Maybe you don't know about the Goodwood Audio Underfacer and Underfacer and the other pedals that they make. Now, one of the things that I like about this so much is that it's a utility pedal. That's what I would call it, at least. Is this pedal was designed to fix a problem. And that's what Goodwood is kind of specialized in, is they make specific pedals that fix problems. They're the utility tool. They're Swiss Army knife, but unlike the Swiss Army knife, they're actually helpful. And they do a lot of these really cool pedals. As far as this video goes, I want to talk about the things that this pedal can do because I think that this is highly valuable for most guitarists, and I think that you're probably only going to benefit from adding it to your board. So let's talk about the layout of the pedal, what makes it special, and why it is that you should probably have it on your board. So right here on the face of it, you've got the tuner out up here. And what that tuner out does is it's a dedicated tuner out, which means that you can remove your tuner pedal from your signal wherever it might be. And you can put it in this tuner and leave it always on. So, you kill your volume, you master mute, whatever the thing is, you click your master mute, and you can tune up. Always. It's always going to show you, it's always going to be on, makes it really, really easy to use. Right here, you've got your in. Okay, so that's where your guitar is actually going to go into the pedal. So you're going to start right there. From that point, you've got your output right over here, and that's where it's then going to go into your signal, your actual, your guitar pedals. So once it goes into the guitar pedals, it's going to start, compression, drives, whatever. And then from that point, it'll usually convert from your, your drives and stuff to your time-based effects, tremolo, delay, reverb, etc. And those are usually going to be your stereo and your wet effects. Once it leaves those wet effects, it's going to come back in over here to the left and the right, and it's going to go into the left and the right. And then over here on the other side, you can see you've got a left and a right out. When it goes to the left and the right out, that's when it's going to then go into, your left amp and your right amp, accordingly, based on whatever it is that you've got. So if you're just using the Underfacer by itself, this master mute is exactly what it sounds like. It's a master mute. You can push it and it kills. Whenever you're using the RMT, like I am, clicking it once is going to be your master mute, and it's going to override your mute button here. So this is great. There's actually two ways you can do this. You can do this as a wet mute or a dry mute based on how it's set up. So after the mute is the summing feature. Now the summing feature is a really cool one that I had actually never even thought of or heard of really, but it does two different things. So when it's out, you know, like that, you can see it's out here, push it in, now you can see it's in. When it's out like that, it's gonna be in stereo mode, and when it's in, it's gonna be in dual mono mode. So dual mono mode is pretty cool because what that means is you can put two amps next to each other and you can A/B them. But he brings it over and you can say, now I'm gonna try these two amps next to each other and see what they sound like and get the same sound into both amps, even though your rig is set up in stereo mode. So you press it again, you know, and then boom, you go back to stereo mode, and then it sends it left and right, which is a fantastically cool option. With that, same thing with the RMT, because this is gonna sit on top of your board and this is gonna sit underneath, it's gonna make it really hard to get to these, obviously. So what you can do is you can hold this down. It's gonna give you two options, red and blue. Red is stereo and blue is dual mono. So you're gonna hold it down for about 3 seconds and it'll go from, you know, red and it'll blink out, you can go to blue. And that's how you know it went from stereo to dual monos. So one of the things that makes this so special, the TX Underfacer in particular, is the TX button down here at the bottom, the red button, and then the 180 button, the black button down here at the bottom. The black one's a little tougher to see. There you go. All right. So the TX button is for phase inversion. The way that's going to work is when you press the red button, it's going to lift the ground on the right output. Then for the only way for that to work is by pushing that button. You cannot lift the ground on the right output without pushing that button. That's important to know. Then you press the black button, this one here down at the bottom, to invert the right output by 180 degrees. So if you got a ground lift issue where there's some noise, you press the red one. Now the black one, the 180 degrees one, this one was an interesting one because this was a phase inversion issue. And this one was something I wasn't 100% sure I understood, but what's funny is that when you're running two amps together, sometimes there can be an issue with phasing. Now, I didn't read the instructions because I'm that kind of person and I just jumped right in. And when I started reading the instructions, trying to figure out how to make all this work, I just thought I'll push the little black button, see what it does. And funny enough, I was having a phasing issue. Now, what's interesting about that was it wasn't the kind of issue that presented itself in such an obvious way that it was a really horrific sound. What it was is that I was losing some of the low end because there was a phasing taking place that kind of killed the boom that my twin reverb has. And when I pressed that little button, all of a sudden this like depth came out of my twin that I just had not experienced since owning it, which like blew me away and frustrated me all at the same time that I missed out on this incredible sound for so long. So this is one of these that makes this so important. I mean, it gives you the ability to not only just add more to the rig, but to take care of the issues of adding more to the rig. I mean, it really helps you to have a professional rig, you know, always ready for no matter what the purpose is, and really quickly fix some, you know, some obvious stuff with just a few different buttons here on top. This particular pedal has finally given me the ability to not only do a wet dry rig, but a wet dry wet rig. And since I, you know, now have the amps to run a wet dry wet rig, this made it, I mean, so easy to do so. This has been an absolutely fantastic contribution to my board. I've loved it. I mean, I've loved it for 5 years now, and now having this one, it just makes it all the better because now I can even stow it away and use, you know, this awesome little tool here to take the place and make it even better. So, you know, please click the links below. Please check out Goodwood Audio. Please pick one up. Please tell them I sent you. Please tell them that I love them. They make incredible stuff. I hope this video is helpful. Please click the subscribe button, the like button, leave all your nasty comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Thank